Welcome to episode 12 of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm Keff Ciardello here with Mike Orakpo, doing another remote episode of this podcast. Short week, our schedules are kind of all over the place, so we had to do it this way. How are you feeling after the bye week, though?
Oh, I'm feeling good. I'm nice and rejuvenated. It's able to kind of soak my mutton. I'm just playing. But it's been a long week it's been a long week of having of no football for the Bobcats, man. I'm like, dang, I had a whole week of watching other teams. It was a little different. Definitely a little different, man.
So you're still in player mode with your answers. You got to get used to being on this side of the
Right.
coverage.
Right.
No, but always nice to have a bye week when there's a few wins to precede it. And that's what the Bobcats had. You can kind of tell the good feeling, a victorious feeling, having a win streak the past week. Everyone still has their confidence, like seeing them at practice. Everyone's still bouncing around and everything. So it's always a lot easier going into those bye weeks with a W under your belt. I will say, we saw London go down and some other guys. Aaron Brewer had both his ankles were hurt, actually. He rolled them both up. Apparently both of them are going to be good to go, though, this upcoming game against ULM. So that's the real benefit of the bye week, is you heal up all these injuries and all that. Was it always, as a player for you, was it always weird, the bye week? You go from playing to not, that break in between football. Do you think it's a benefit or does it hurt teams?
I think it benefits teams, man. I really do. I think it benefits teams because it gives teams a chance to really get recovery. I mean, before the bye week, you're facing a lot of injuries most of the time, or nicks, just, here and there, something may be tweaking you or, hurting a little bit. So it gives you a whole week of, going to the training room, getting recovery and, just trying to get back closer and closer to 100% so that you'll be ready to go.
Yeah. You don't think it doesn't stop momentum in your opinion or anything like that? It kind of like it's more about rest and recovery than anything else.
It just depends. I feel like it's circumstantial because it depends on where the bye weeks is coming at. If it's coming after a couple of games, and obviously we want to play football, you know what I'm saying? We want to play football, but there's sometimes when there's been bye weeks where you come off of a horrible loss and your team is just beat up. And the bye week comes at a perfect time because you're able to recover, regroup, and then get ready for the week after. Same thing, you coming off of a gruesome win. Sometimes there's some wins, some late fourth quarter wins or some overtime wins where you really had to use a lot of your guys, getting them in there. So, some of the backups are now getting in, replacing some of your starters. People are knacked up and all kinds of things like that. So it just all depends on when the bye is scheduled within that season.
Yeah. Well, they got another one right after this game. That's kind of funky, but we'll we'll talk bye weeks again next week, I guess.
Right.
This week we got ULM, Louisiana Monroe coming in here. Pretty similar team, literally identical records. 2-3, 1-0 in the Sun Belt. Both had pretty tough non-conference schedules. In fact, Spavital said yesterday he thought that their non-conference schedule was harder than Texas State's. When you look at it, they took Florida State into overtime. They got worked by Iowa State, like 72-20, something like that. And then they hung in there with number 23 Memphis. I say hung in there. They only lost by 20. It's like 52-33 to Memphis last week. So they've had a pretty tough non-conference schedule as well, and they've come out with kind of the same record. They're an interesting team, especially with Caleb Evans at quarterback. I mean, he's been their quarterback. It feels like for 10 years now at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been there. I think this might be it's his 30th start. Yeah, because he had 29th was his last one. His third consecutive start for them. So, I mean, he's approaching 8,000 yards and the whole deal. So, it's not a cupcake by any means. Have you gotten a chance to dive into ULM? What do you think about the Warhawks?
Yeah, they have a solid running back too, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
I've checked out ULM. I think the big thing about their team is I actually watched the Memphis game, so don't let the score fool you on the Memphis game. They actually was playing that game all the way through. It kind of got out of hand there late, but even I have a buddy that played for Memphis, and he's hitting me up like, there's no reason we should be, anywhere near these guys. But ULM, they played pretty hard during that game. I think they had a solid run. They have a solid running back there in the backfield. It seems like he's been running the ball. They have a stingy defense. From what I've seen from this Memphis team from this ULM team is they know how to cause turnovers. So it looks like they've had 6 interceptions. It's actually tied with our defense so far in the Sun Belt, leading the Sun Belt. So that lets you know that they have a pretty good defense. They're stingy, and they're looking to cause turnovers there in the secondary.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up their running back, Josh Johnson. He's actually leading the Sun Belt. They don't have the best rushing offense, but that guy individually for them really made them go. And they do. They're just like the Bobcats, very turnover-prone defense with the 6 picks.
Yeah.
So a lot of similarities between these two teams. The one major difference, though, is they're pretty sound at quarterback with Caleb Evans. I mean, he's steady as they come. He can do it on the ground. I think he's leading the team. I have it here. Yeah, 5 touchdowns rushing for him. So he's leading the team in rushing touchdowns. He's at 10 passing touchdowns. So they've got a pretty potent offense on this team. But it'll be interesting to see how that whole deal goes. They have right here, I'm looking at some stats. They've got the 3rd best pass team in the conference and 3rd best total offense. So I mean, they average 250 yards passing a game, 470 total offense. It's obviously we know about Texas State's tough defense, so they're going to have their hand on ULM. You think about ULM coming into town, it seems like it should be an easy Sun Belt opponent, but it's not by any means. This is a pretty good team. And in fact, in recent years, ULM has actually kind of had Texas State's ticket. They've won the last 3 matchups, and ULM, they've come in here and punched Texas State in the mouth a couple times. And so, it's a battle of 2 maroon and golden teams. They always think that's funny. They're both on the same colors. But, I mean, more recently, the Warhawks, maroon and gold, has been on top of it. So, I mean, it's going to be – it's a pretty important game, I feel, for Texas State. It's pretty pivotal because this is a game that, again, it's a game right before a bye week, so you want that momentum going into that long break. A lot of time to think about a loss if you get that, and they want to avoid that. But it's also – this is a game that they're not favored to win. ULM's favored by 3.5, but Texas, it's a game that they should win still. And it'll be very telling of this team if they can kind of take this game, then I think that'll push momentum forward going on for the rest of the year, trying to get people eligible or even just trying to get to 5 wins. I mean, it's not I don't know if it's not the most important game of the season, but it's a pretty pivotal moment for me as far as looking at this team and seeing this team's identity, if they're truly a win or not, is right here in this moment. But yeah, and I mean, another Thursday night game. I personally like the Thursday night matchup. Kind of throws a wrench into it all. I mean, what do you think about a Thursday night matchup? Think it'll mess them up at all? Kind of mess with their schedule?
I don't think so. I myself, I don't care for them. I do think it gives you a chance to get on national TV, so you get to, get some exposure to your program. A team like Texas State can definitely take advantage of being on ESPN on Thursday night, being able to get the win. I remember when I was playing, I believe we played Arkansas State on a Thursday night game. I think it was on ESPN2, I believe, and we ended up getting a big win there. And I received a lot of messages after that game, like, "Hey, I seen y'all beat Arkansas State." So it's always good getting the team, getting the program in front of new faces. There'll be some people tuning in, but in terms of just it being on Thursday, it is a switch up because the preparation is different. You're not preparing at the end of the week now. You're at a midweek. So now your Sundays are Mondays and your Mondays are Tuesday, so everything is different when you have that Thursday night game. So I'm interested to see how the, Bobcats will be prepared, how they're prepared for this game, how they come out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you said it. Spav even said that yesterday. He forgot that he was having a press conference. He's like, I forgot it was even Tuesday. In my mind, it's Thursday. I'm like, right. Yeah, with the short week and everything. What do you think the Bobcats? What do you want to see out of Texas State on Thursday night? What do they need to do to get this victory? We'll go with offense first. What do you want to see offensively that they need to do to take this home?
One thing I want to see out of the offense, obviously, is, coming out and being able to move the ball early on. It seems for right now, we've solidified, so to speak, our identity, I believe. A lot of people are still, I understand the quarterback deal, but for the most part, this is game 6 now. All right. And we're kind of at a point now where we've kind of established some kind of identity, which on offense, which is, if we run the ball, we can move this offense. If we don't run the ball, then the offense is going to be, we're going to have, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for us to get that offense going. So me personally, I want to see the Bobcats come out and really start to run the ball, establish a good ground game, a good ground attack. Twyford just, continue to do what you do up front, O-line, just blocking, kind of controlling that line of scrimmage, taking the pressure off of our quarterback, Jensen, and just allowing him to just manage the game. If he can manage the game, get the ball into the right people's hands, where the ball needs to go, then we'll be all right. Defensively, obviously, we're going to come out. We're going to play some good defense. I believe that as long as we're able to do our thing in the secondary, we will be fine defensively against this ULM team.
Yeah, I'm right with you on offense with the rushing game, because right now Bobcats still have the worst rushing team in the Sun Belt. They're only getting 80 yards a game, but they're going against the worst rushing defense in the Sun Belt also. They're allowing, I got it written down somewhere, they're allowing 256 yards a game rushing on the ground, ULM is. So, that's something you got to take advantage of. And we've seen the Bobcats be successful offensively when they start that rushing game. So the last 2 games, they've established the rush. Twyford, like you were saying, as soon as they get going, this offense goes. And it takes the relief. It relieves Jensen some of the pressure and takes away some of his turnovers and all that. So, yeah, absolutely. They need to get that running game started. And, it's going to be Texas State defense. They are banged up. London, they're still holding him out of practice. He's going to play, but they're still pretty banged up on both sides of the ball, but specifically on defense. So that's my one concern going against ULM is hopefully they're not. We'll see how banged up they really are once the game starts and they're all out on the field. But that would be the one thing that I think would hold back Texas State's defense is that issue there. But we'll see how all that works out. But one guy we should talk about is Brady McBride. We'll get this one out of the way before we jump into our questions. Talk about that whole deal. People have been waiting all day on pins and needles, waiting for Brady McBride, and that news hadn't come yet. But the NCAA is going to make a ruling on his eligibility this week. So I've been told it's moved to tomorrow instead of today. Brady McBride tweeted out the emoji with the fingers crossed, saying that he's going to hear today, and turns out it's tomorrow. But what do you think about this whole Brady McBride thing? Because even if he is made eligible and he comes in, do you think that would mess up any chemistry with this team at all?
I do not. I actually think that the fact that we have a bye week coming, obviously I don't think we're going to throw him in there. If there's a situation where we have to get McBride ready, I feel like it would be coming during that bye week, preparing for him. He's not going to play this weekend regardless, whether he finds out or not. He won't play this game. And then, it's interesting to see how Jensen continues to play. Because, again, even if McBride does become eligible, they're not going to strip Jensen's starting, role and just hand it over to McBride. If he can even be the better quarterback, and you're not going to do that. There's no coach, no right coach would just take somebody's starting position for nothing. So just like Vitt is the backup quarterback, McBride is to come in. If he was to become eligible, he has to be the backup quarterback, and he will be waiting if Jensen messes up. But again, it'll be Jensen's job to lose, so to speak. And then if he loses it, then we'll be seeing McBride get his shot.
I'm telling you, if McBride is made eligible, he's in there. He's not playing tomorrow. But just the way the buzz around him and the way they talk about him and everything, I really think that they would insert him and be like, all right, we've got 16 days for this kid for Arkansas State. Let's go with it.
I believe it. I do believe it, but like I said, it's Jensen's job. I still feel that it's Jensen's job to lose, being that he is a current starting quarterback. So again, Coach Spav whoever can say that it's going to be an open competition or all the quarterback job, that explains that it's his job to lose. So there's not going to be a chance where McBride just walks into the locker room and just takes the starting position. I don't see that happening. Jensen, he's going to have to go out there and beat Jensen out for that spot.
I really
we'll see.
He's gonna get in there. Watch him go. But that's why I asked you if you thought chemistry wise if that would mess anything up. If they were just anointing him, it's like, okay, you haven't started a game, you just got here in August, but boom, here you are, you're the starter now. You think there'd be any animosity from teammates? Anybody who looks at that and they're like, I don't know, because I could see that messing up a little bit of chemistry. Because Gresh, as much as we bag on Gresh, he hasn't been terrible. It's really just the interceptions that have been bad. And so I get what you're saying. It's like it's his job to lose, But
yeah,
I do also think that they would put him in there pretty quick. But I don't know if
they would. I do. I feel like the leash will be a lot shorter. This is the thing about the whole thing about whether he has a locker room or not. Players aren't robots. These guys aren't just like, oh, okay, this is our quarterback. Let's just go until players know who is a good quarterback, who is a better quarterback, who is a great quarterback. They know. Like in their locker room, if McBride is the guy and he's so much better than all the other guys, I guarantee you they would actually know before us. They would know. We're the outside and we're asking and we're questioning, but inside the locker room, they know who the guys are. The players always do. Sometimes the coaches, it takes a little while for them, but the players are normally the ones that play with these guys and they know who the guys are. They're one of the first ones to know. So if McBride truly is as good as advertised, if he's the player that everybody is saying he is, then the players will be ready to rally around him once he's named the starting quarterback, and they're going to actually play harder, for that guy. That's why sometimes if you see when there's a quarterback and he has a backup that's better, for example, Mahomes with Kansas City, the whole team knew. The whole team knew Pat was much better. Everybody felt he was the guy over Alex Smith. So when he got into the lineup, he immediately elevated the team, and those teammates bought into him and started believing in him almost immediately because they saw how good he was at practice. They knew what he was capable of.
You know what the situation reminds me of? It's actually your era, the Tyler Jones situation in 2013.
Yeah.
When they were trying to redshirt him, and I think it was between Tyler Arndt and Jordan Moore that year. I think were the two quarterbacks, and they were trying to redshirt Jones. And we'd go to practice, and we'd see the competition between Arndt and Moore. And then you look over on the scout team, and you just see Tyler Jones just
lighting it up.
And it was a matter of time. And the buzz around Jones was like, this is the guy they got to put in there. It felt like players and people and coaches and everybody watching it. It was very similar to how people were looking at McBride.
Right.
When they see
what happened when they inserted Tyler Jones into their starting lineup? It didn't take us much time to rally behind him because we already knew he was the best quarterback in that locker room. We knew he was better than the other guys.
And I feel like the players on this team know right now that McBride's the better quarterback. I really do.
Right.
Well, we'll see because I've only ever seen him go against scout team. The most I saw him was yesterday because everybody else was doing rest and recovery day. So they played a lot of the scout team guys. And McBride and Cedric Case were splitting reps basically the entire practice. And that's when I really get to see McBride shine. He does a lot. He rolls out of the pocket, extends that play when the pocket collapses. He can just throw that ball on the run. He does some exciting things. So it's exciting. It's crazy. We're all on pins and needles waiting for the NCAA to decide on the waiver. But I mean, all we can do is wait at this point. But we know this. He won't be there for the ULM game, no matter what. Even if they make him eligible tonight, they're not going to play him. They're not going to play him tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll see what happens after that bye week, though. I think we both picked ULM to win, right? In the picking, we did. So yeah, we both got them winning. It's going to be close, though. I feel this is going to be a really close game because these two teams are very similar. I think ULM has the advantage at quarterback, but Texas State has the advantage defensively. And so I think that'll hold true for the Bobcats on defense there. But yeah, we got some questions. We decided to do this podcast kind of late, so we only have like 3 questions, so should be a pretty quick deal. Let me pull those up real quick. We'll start out number 1 from Justin JHop4040, my former boss at Bobcat Report. Actually, this guy. So you may have met Justin Hopkins at some point, Brad. Let's see. Here we go. I realize I'm getting ahead of myself, but I believe this is a must in all caps, a must win given how the rest of the schedule shakes out. If Texas State hopes to reach bowl eligibility this year, do you agree? It's funny. I was just kind of saying that. I was just saying that I don't know if this is a must win, but it's a pivotal game. Absolutely. If they want to be bowl eligible, this game, I feel like it's a good barometer. If they can get this W against a very comparable opponent in the same conference, I think that just bodes well for how this team's going to do going forward. If they can hang with this ULM. So yeah, I wouldn't call it a must, all caps, Justin, but I would say it's a very important game. I mean, what do you think? Would you consider this a must win?
This reminds me a lot of, and I know I keep going the history lesson route, but when I was playing, this reminds me a lot of, I believe that was the 2013 season. We went 6-6 that year. That was the first year we was bowl eligible. We played ULM at home. Okay. We lost to ULM. It was a very close game. I believe we lost to them by a touchdown, and we ended up going 6-6. Right after we lost the game, I had a feeling that loss was going to come back and haunt us. Okay. And the next year, it was the same with South Alabama. It was a winnable game. We went back and forth to South Alabama. We ended up losing to South Alabama that year. That was the year we went 7-5, lost a very close game in South Alabama. If you look back at those two games, it was 2 very important games. It was 2 very winnable games for us. And on both the years, I feel like that important game, we lost that one. And we was 1 game out from a bowl game. So the reason why I'm saying that this is a must win for the Bobcats being that if we want to go bowl game, 6-6 teams in the Sun Belt aren't guaranteed to go bowling. Okay. Because you don't know how many teams are going to be bowl eligible. And then the Sun Belt always gets to hand select its teams, and they're going to pick the best, whatever 3 or 4 teams that are able to get in. So this game, I feel like, is a very important game. I'm not saying that it's going to be impossible if we lose this game, but this is going to be one of those close games to where if we can pull it off, it's going to give us a situation and a route to at least get to the point where we're winning not only 6 games, but we're able to win more than 6 games to continue to solidify ourselves into the postseason. So I won't necessarily say this is a must win, but this is a very, very, very important game. And it may be, looking back at it at the end of the season, like, wow, that was a game that could have been the game changer of, whether we get into the bowl game or not.
Well, you've convinced me. Now I agree with Justin. It is a must win. They got it.
I think it's a must win for the most part.
And think about it's the 3rd straight home game. Hopefully it's a Thursday night, so they may not get a very big crowd. But, some fans may start to shuffle in because they're starting to get W's. And if you can get another win, just keep stacking that momentum. I do. I think
it's just one of those games that you gotta grab. Like the Georgia State game. I felt like if we wanted to go bowling, that was a must-win kind of game. Like we're gonna have a couple of games where it gets out of hand and it's not close, and it's like, okay, that's probably gonna happen down the road on whoever we play.
App State probably.
App State probably gonna be. But
I'm not looking forward to that.
ULM is one of those games where we're going to be between a field goal or so of winning this football game. And we have to pull it off if we want to go to the bowl game this year.
I'm with you. And, and also recently, since Texas State's been in the Sun Belt, because, ULM used to be a Southland Conference rival, too, back in the 90s, 80s,
right.
90s. But since the two teams have joined the Sun Belt, ULM has had Texas State's number. They're up 4-2. In the 6 games since Bobcats have joined the conference. So it would be nice to kind of get some of that back from this team. A rival that I feel like it's a rival that I feel a lot of people discount in the Sun Belt. They hear ULM, they're like, oh, that's an easy win. They got this. It's not, especially not this year. So yeah, I think it's a super important game. Let's look at these next questions we got. I know our last two are both kind of about what the school can do for attendance. So they're kind of both in the same. So this is from Austin Hunter, A Hunter27T. What's up, Austin? This says, besides winning and a Mercedes, what do we need to do to increase fan involvement? Gosh, the winning is always the biggest one. Anytime people ask me, like, what can the school do to increase attendance? There's really not much you can do besides win. To get them to the stands at this point. I mean, you can offer dollar beer night. You can have billboards all over town. You can offer cheap tickets. I mean, you could give away free tickets to some locals. There's a lot of things you can do. But at the end of the day, the only way they're going to get butts in those seats is if they start winning. Because people don't want to waste their time on a loser. They don't want to go sit in those uncomfortable bleachers and watch a team lose. It's much easier to sit there and tough it out if your team's winning. So, I mean, I don't put it on the school at this point. I think it's been years of losing it, and it might be on the administration why there hasn't been sustained success over a period of time. But as far as right now, what they need to do, you got to win. You got to win the game. You got to win games. That's my biggest take on how you get fans in the stands, fan engagement. I'll say this though. I don't want to discount it completely. Because you can also, I know there are a lot of middle of the ground donors that feel isolated for Texas State, like Bobcat level donors that don't feel like they're as welcome. And so maybe that's one specific thing they could do is to reach out to the middle of the ground donors as well. But what do you think? What could they do? What could they do, Rack, to increase attendance?
That's actually a great question. Besides the car and obviously winning, that's actually a great question. I think if you really think about it and you look harder, I feel like one thing that we probably can do is continue building the brand and just educating people on what this football team looks like. You sometimes you probably go in the tailgate and, people don't know who the starting quarterback is. People don't know who the running back is, and, people don't know who our star linebacker that we have. When people can identify certain players on a team, they're more invested to continue to support that team. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know, just maybe continuing to just build the brand and figure out a way to start branding the team. Because to be honest, we've played what, just 3 games? Played 3 games at home so far?
This will be the third. Yeah, third home.
Yeah, we played 3 games at home so far, and we've won 2. We've won 2. We went 2-1 at home, and people need to know that, we're on the 2-game winning streak. I feel like sometimes the average Bobcat fan may not even know that The team is winning right now. So they need your support to come in the stadium and letting them know, like, this is the crowd of the last game, and it helped us get this overtime win. It was a great game, and just educating some other people of what happened during the game, and it was because of you guys, letting them feel appreciated that that they were stayed around and stuck around and saw that overtime win. Just
informing students.
Informing students.
Yeah, getting them kind of more educated on what's going on with the team. Maybe they should. The school needs to force students to listen to our podcast. That's what it is.
Right.
Roll on the loudspeakers all over campus. We'll inform them all. No, but I'm with you. An informed fan base would be more invested in this team if they knew more about it. I agree with you there. And
right.
And honestly, I discounted it pretty quick by saying winning, but I think you're right that getting on campus and getting students to go to the games, to show up and be more involved, I think that's huge. And one way to do it is to inform them and let them know, like, hey, this team's doing pretty well. If you show up with your student ID, you get in. Because it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing. There's, believe it or not, as much as people say, oh, when you win, they'll come. You're right. Absolutely. But when you look at some other teams around the country, they're horrible. And you look at their stadiums and they still have people that's coming to football games. It's because they've developed a culture there that, football Saturdays here in San Marcos is what we do. If you live here or you go here as a student, this is what we do. On Saturdays, you go to football games. You look at Texas A&M. A&M has not always had the best team in College Station. Obviously, they've built a culture around their fans being involved, on their football team. So if we can find a way to continue to get, an identity for our fans and knowing that, they're there. I love the fact that we had the loud crowd. I think actually when we had the loud crowd, when I was playing there, that those are some of the highest attendance averages that we've had since I think in school history, if I'm not mistaken, because we had a pretty good attendance. It wasn't 30,000 every game, but it was far more than what we have now. Mixing in some wins in it also. So, I think that was a great thing that we did then, and if we can continue to find an identity for our fans and get them involved, then we'll see that attendance continue to get better. I'm with you. Bring the loud crowd back. They need to get that loud crowd back out there.
Bring the loud crowd back, man, or make another one. Think of another one or something.
I didn't even know it was gone until this year. Until people started saying, like, oh, I missed the loud crowd. I'm like, they're not even there. I guess not.
Yeah. I found out through one of them watching the podcast and sending me a message saying that the loud crowd's no more.
I think that's when I found out, too. When you told me about that, I was like, I had no idea. No, we got one more. It's from Fact Daddy Sports. He's messaged us before, he or she, don't mean to assume. What has Larry Tice personally done to enhance the home game attendance? Personally done, I think the biggest thing he did was hire Spavital. that was the biggest thing he's personally done. That's hard for me to really say. I don't know exactly what he's personally done to increase attendance. I mean, I guess he's empowered some of the situations, like with the Mercedes, where they're offering a car to people if you come, and you can see that they're marketing. They're doing more market. I don't know if they're doing enough, but they're doing more. They're trying, and it's kind of baby steps with this whole situation as far as that's concerned. But I couldn't say like what specifically personally he's done. I don't know if you could either, but I will say it's been an increase in the marketing and in the game day experience and a lot of that since last year and in years prior. It's still some baby steps with the whole situation, but I'm giving it.
It's gotten better. It's gotten better. I would say that it's gotten better. one thing people have to realize is when you go year after year after year, like there comes a time when you're going to have to just shut up and win, and that's when some of the fans will come back. Just what happens. I mean, you go 4 or 5 years.
At that point.
Yeah, we're at that point. Like, we were at the last time we had any kind of series of winning was 2014. That's 5 years ago. So we went 4 straight years, and it's just like somebody has come in as a freshman at Texas State, and they left as a senior with watching the same losing all through their freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior tenure as a student.
All through their collegiate career. Crazy.
All through their collegiate career. So why would they be encouraged to continue to go to their game if they're not seeing any, kind of change? Well, this year is a new year. We finally got a coach here. They're branding it. But at a point in time, you're just going to have to kind of, shut up and win. And that's what I see that Texas State is trying to do. And, hopefully we can pull this dub off tomorrow, man.
Yes, indeed. And, it's trending in the upward direction, which is good. So we could say that in a few years. So they're at the point where they got it. I'm with you 100%. I mean, no matter, we could say they need to do this, they need to do that. What needs to happen is they need to win on the field. If they want wins, if they want donors, if they want everything to be empowered, you're going to have to start winning games. And you don't have to win 10 this year, but, get to 500. That's a start.
Right.
That's a start. But I think that's a wrap for us.
My last question would be to you, Keff, is just like, okay, at what point do we start comparing this year to last year and realizing that it's Coach Spav's first year as well? At what point do we do that? Because I'm seeing a lot of big expectations are happening this year, which is good. It seems like a lot of people have high expectations for Coach Spav. But at what point do we look at it and say, okay, where were we at last year? Last year, how many games did we win total? Is it 3?
3.
3. And you look at 2019, we have a new coach. We have a tougher schedule, and we're already at 2 wins, not even, right at halfway through the season. So, you kind of got to look at where we're going. This is not a one quick, we got to, it's progressing. And I think that this football team and the program is headed in the right direction.
Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to take some time.
Absolutely.
I think that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up because there are a lot of high expectations with Spav. He brings a lot of hype and all this stuff, but it is still that when you look at in history, this is still much better situation than they've been in.
Absolutely.
As much as we bash quarterbacks and all this stuff, what's happening this year, it's much easier to watch than what's gone on in the past. So I'm with you there. But I think that about wraps it up. I want to go watch Appalachian and
me too, man.
Louisiana Lafayette play. That game's going on right now, so I want to go check that one out. I know in the maroon and golden pick'em, I picked App State. Who'd you pick for this game?
I picked App State as well.
Yeah, smart. You know what? I think there was only one guy. Marty. What's up, Marty? I think he was the only one who picked Lafayette. Louisiana Lafayette. I was looking at that.
Just like Josh was the only. Josh, I'm calling you out, man. You picked ULM. I got problems with that one.
Josh. Hey, good for you. Way to go against the grain, Josh. Honestly, it's a bold move. And he's picking the favored team. Maybe we're all crazy drinking the Kool-Aid, but
what Josh trying to do is Josh trying to get him some quick wins in here.
Strategy.
He's trying to work his way in strategy. Yeah.
He doesn't really believe it. No way.
We're gonna bite him in the ass when we win tomorrow. Then he's gonna be looking crazy.
That's right. He's going to look like a fool. See, what he was trying to do is what I did with the Tulane-Houston game. I was the only one who picked Tulane. I'm going to brag about that one forever. But that should do it here for the fifth quarter podcast. I almost called it the Maroon and Golden podcast. Talking about
wow.
But check out Maroon and Golden.
Those are our buddies, man. Y'all check out those guys. They do good job.
Good guys over there. Justin Schaffer over there running it. He's a great guy. No, but that'll do it for this episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. Thanks for joining us. SHN Sports not producing it this time, but they're definitely going to throw it online for us. So please go like them on your YouTube page, because that's where we put this page at SHN Sports there, at SHN Sports on Twitter. Follow us at Twitter, the Fifth Quarter Pod _. Follow us on Instagram. Give us likes on YouTube. Find us on all of it, Spotify, iTunes, all that good stuff. But
all of that.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Let's get it.